Hello everyone, this is part 8 of What If Naruto Failed and Chose a Different Path, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Kohona's Ninja Academy students POV. No one in the classroom moved a muscle and few dared to even breathe as they saw the Chunin ninja that was Yumi no Iruka fall down unconscious. From what, however, they did not know nor did they want to. The tall boy of a figure outside the door stepped to the side of the poor man, now having to pick him up by slinging the Chunin's right arm over his shoulder. You really need to take things better than this, Iruka-sensei, if you ever want to meet that special lady to settle down, said the figure, placing the man in his chair, sitting him up appropriately as best he could. Once that was done, the figure turned to every new genin in the class, making them stiffen with fear as they feared they would fall to whatever it was that took down Iruka. The dark figure walked slowly, steadily, and with a pace that said to cross him would be your death sentence. This of course didn't stop the more shallow girls in the room watching him that would just normally swoon over a certain Uchiha to have hearts in their eyes, as they were suckers for the dark bad boy look. And right now this particular bad boy made the Uchiha in the class look like a 90-pound soaking wet weakling. I wonder what he could be like under that mask. He looks strong and so mysterious. Do you think he has any scars under that clothing? Said most the girls, whispering to themselves as the figure started walking towards the steps that led to each row of long desks filled with students. The tall figure walked past each of the rows filled with students that couldn't help but wonder what he could have in mind next. Hey, you with the weird ninja getup. What did you do to Iruka-sensei? Said a boy with black hair and black eye, scowling at the dark-clad figure, trying to intimidate him, believing his last name would give the man a reason to acknowledge him. The black-clad figure stopped at the row 2 steps away from Hinata's row while looking slightly at her, making her nervous as she had noticed the eyes were on her. Why do you want to know? It is of no concern to you, just as you are of no concern to me, said the voice of the dark figure, now continuing his walk again, his boots echoing the footsteps he made when walking. He's coming towards me. What do I do? What would Naruto-kun do? He would stand his ground, that's what. If he can, I will too, thought Hinata as she summoned courage to her face and removed the nervousness with determination that replaced it. How dare you not recognize who I am? I'm Sasuke Uchiha and #1 Rookie of the Year, said Sasuke angrily before lunging at the man, fist intent on connecting with the back of the man's head. It never reached its intended target as the black figure moved his head at the last minute with a simple movement to his left as if it were nothing. With your level of skill you are not worth my time, said the figure, elbowing Sasuke in the ribs before doing what in the minds of the genin an impossibly maneuvered right kick to Sasuke's skull, sending him back onto the table he leaped from to attack the boy right next to a shocked first, pissed off second Haruno Sakura. How dare you do that to Sasuke-kun? Yelled Sakura, raising her fist to pound the tall boy as her fear overpowered by anger at the boy who hurt her crush. The boy caught the fist and pushed it back up before pulling her forward to kick the girl in the stomach hard to push the Sasuke fangirl in the vacant chair next to the table that Sasuke fallen onto. I don't have time for you two or anyone else here for that matter, as there is only one person I wish to speak to in this room, said the tall and dark boy of a shinobi as he continued his walk towards a certain Hyuga heiress. Hinata, whose now once strong-looking, determination-filled face had now slightly faltered after seeing the display the boy used to defeat the two so easily, and wise that he was well beyond their skills to possibly Junin level. Who is he? Why is it am I only slightly afraid of him? Thought Hinata as the boy was, but a chair's blockade away from her now. A chair that, whether considered good or bad for it being there, was the one that Inuzuka Kiba was sitting in with his pet Akamaru on his head, using the boy's hair as a pillow. What do you want with me? I don't know you, said Kiba, who heard a bark from his dog at first, who then sniffed the figure's scent to identify him, only to get whimper from the poor puppy, making him bury his nose in Kiba's hair. You dog boy, whoever said I wanted to talk to you? Said the dark figure, looking from Kiba to Hinata, giving her a wink that made the girl involuntarily blush as she felt she had seen those blue eyes before, only on a certain blonde-haired boy she admired. What? You want to speak to Hinata? Please pal, you are out of your league. Besides, she is with me, right Hinata? said Kiba, smiling confidently before looking at Hinata, causing his smile to fade when she didn't answer him and just looked at the dark figure. One chance, dog boy. Move from your seat or I'll remove it and you from this spot, said the figure, cracking his hand loudly as if to give warning. Kiba was about to respond when Akamaru barked and whined to Kiba, making the said boy's eyes widen with fear at what his dog just told him. What, Akamaru? He's what? Said Kiba before Akamaru repeated his barks and whines, making Kiba gulp down the lump that had suddenly appeared in his tea, loudly. There is no way he can be that strong. According to Akamaru, he's not even human from his scent, but why can't I pick it up? I don't understand this, thought Kiba as he slowly got up and moved aside for the figure to part. Good boy. If you don't listen to me again, I will have to send you to the vet and your dog to the hospital to get you both treated for what I can and will do to both of you, said the dark figure, walking past Kiba, who was growling in anger as the person he surrendered his seat to sat down next to Hinata, who was now becoming a near nervous wreck. He's sitting here, right next to me, thought Hinata, as she now had a very strong and sneaking suspicion of who the identity of the mystery boy was, and if it was who she thought she believed it to be, she was going to faint, and in public no less. Hello Hinata-chan. I missed you dearly in my time apart from you, said the figure as he placed the right bandaged hand that was his and taking her much smaller one closet to him that was on the desk, making the girl blush horribly. While this was happening, all the students could do was watch the figure now speaking smoothly to the Hyuga girl, while Kiba, being the closest to them, just flared with pure anger and king intent at the man who was moving in on his girl. Okay, so maybe not mine just yet, but eventually she would be, and when she was, he would rub it in the man's face. Hey lover boy, you keep flirting with her and you'll answer to me, said Kiba, his voice full of the anger he was sending at the man. You don't remember me, do you, Hinata? I thought my eyes would give me away, and the fact that you would remember giving me that kiss on the cheek before I left, said the dark-clothed figure, smoothly ignoring the boy near him as he moved his hand holding hers to his face, kissing the girl's hand with his lips beyond the mask, making Hinata blush to such a degree her face looked like it was going to explode from all the blood that rushed to her head. She did what? Thought Kiba in his head as all other thoughts stopped, while he had eyes that now went as big as saucer plates as the boy continued the affection. It is him. I can't believe it. He remembered me and he's now kissing my hand. Thought Hinata as they were the last ones that registered thoughts in her head before she passed out onto the desk in front of her. You bastard, I'll K you for that, said Kiba. He had thought with his small brain that the tall boy had hurt her in all his flirting as he swung a slightly clawed hand towards Hinata's would-be Casanova. The dark figure, who was more concerned about Hinata's safety than his own, pulled her fainted form into him. Then, using speed that he had earned by wearing his increasing in heaviness weights, was gone in one moment and reappeared in the next to another slightly taller than him in height boy. One with glasses, brown hair, and a face-covering coat, who was shocked that the figure could move so fast with another person in hand. You with the glasses. I trust you will keep her safe while I deal with him, said the boy, point to Kiba while earning a small nod from the one with glasses. Of course, and my name is Shino, said Shino in a calm voice. But on the inside his mind was going crazy, as were his bugs, as they told him the person in front of him had chakra that was different and not the type of different one should be close to. Thank you, Shino. Now please excuse me while I put this bad dog down, said the figure, bowing slightly to Shino before vanishing from his sight back to a now bewildered, but still angry Kiba. If matters weren't worse, Sasuke had recovered from the assault he suffered from earlier and was now behind the masked-faced blue-eyed boy. I'm going to make you pay for that, you masked loser, said Sasuke, pulling out a kunai ready to hurt this kid and bring a whole new definition of pain to the boy. If I'm the loser that you claim I am, then how come you were the one who was knocked out so badly after 2 mere hits? Said the figure, not even turning his head around to face the Uchiha, making the boy angry that he was being ignored. Kohona local bar, normal POV. Kurenai and Anko had been sitting at a table in the bar for a good 10 minutes waiting for Kakashi to show up, as it was a day when no missions were on hand for them. They had been too tired to train just yet, and so they gave themselves the morning off to relax. So how's your shrine going? Said Anko, grinning slightly at Kurenai, who looked back at her as if she was crazier than usual. What are you talking about? What shrine? Said Kurenai, as her friend's words now had her worried that Anko had a bipolar disorder when drinking. Your shrine to that demon you have tucked away in your closet. What's his damn name again? Slade, right? Said Anko, making Kurenai blush lightly, But it was dark in the bar since they didn't use much lighting, so it went unnoticed. I don't know what you are talking about. Beside, I can't love a demon. He would never consider loving a human being, as I would become old and grey while he would outlive me, said Kurenai, as that was the only excuse she could think of. Right, you keep telling yourself that on those cold dark nights and you need someone to warm you up under those sheets, said Anko as she took another drink of her sake that she had ordered. Honestly, Anko, you are as bad as Kakashi or that pervert who writes the crap he reads, said Kurenai to Anko, as neither of them sensed the figure behind them wearing orange, black, and had a one-eyed metal mask on. I couldn't agree more. If it were up to me, I would burn those books and their creators' minds so they could never be made ever again, said the men, scaring the two ladies nearly out of their seats as their kunai were now drawn. It wasn't for a good 5 seconds till after they both saw it was none other than Slade that the tension left and was replaced by shock. Slade, is that you? Said Kurenai, surprised as she couldn't help feel such a thing in her, as she hadn't seen him in a whole year. In a manner of speaking. I missed you and those lovely eyes, said Slade, taking Kurenai's still kunai holding hand with his own and giving it a metal masked kiss, making the woman blush as no one ever complimented her eyes before, as most people disliked or feared them. Aye, thank you. Slade-san, said Kurenai as the metal-covered hand gently left hers, while the witness to all of this, that was Anko, was seething in anger as she wanted to get back at him for what he did to her before he left. Hey lover boy, I am only going to say this once. Could you leave me and stuttering girl here? We are waiting for Kakashi to show up, said Anko, trying to ruin the mood as much as humanly possible. Oh, about that, I spoke with Kakashi. He's a little tied up right about now and he told me that he won't be joining us. He was saying something about his perverted book being in danger and it possibly being destroyed, said Slade, chuckling at the end, knowing exactly where Kakashi was and what he was doing. Kohono Training Ground 7. Kakashi's POV. Hatake Kakashi was not happy right now. Oh no, Hatake Kakashi was far from happy, as he was currently upside down. Arms, hands, legs, and even his feet were tied up. He was hanging upside down, tied up, and all the while watching his book Come Come Paradise Volume X Rare Super Limited Edition, that was one copy among 30 in existence, now hanging by thin rope. All other copies all had proud owners, all held by significant others, including the Hokage. A book, which the one-eyed Kakashi knew. The old man kept it in his office when he took breaks from paperwork. Just when I didn't think you could get any lower, you do this to me, Demon Fox, said Kakashi out loud at his misfortune of running into Slade on his way to meet Anko and Kurenai on what Anko secretly told him would be an unofficial date between him and the Genjutsu mistress, with the special Junin there to get Kurenai to warm up to him. A thin rope that was connected somehow to the one around him was also connected with weights, and an advanced pulley system with a tall burning candle just below his book. Note to self, I must find Slade and destroy him somehow for this. Possibly target Naruto to feel my full discomfort about this situation, thought Kakashi as he struggled once more, thus making the pulley respond by lowering the suspended that was in book midair closer to the burning candle. Back at the bar. Since Kakashi is going to be busy the rest of the day, why don't we possibly get to know each other better? We rarely had a chance to before I left nearly a year ago, and we all know that our time then was forced short by unwelcome circumstances, said Slade as he wanted to get to know them better than he did before. You are not going to spring any rainbow paint-filled scroll bombs, are you? Said Anko as she looked around, trying to find a possible item around the bar that was out of place. My dear, if it was just you here then you would be in trouble, but since Kurenai is with you I am granting you temporary immunity from such atrocities, said Slade in a slight mocking tone, in the end making Anko want to take the guy to a chamber to make him scream like a pig instead of a fox. Alright, but you pull the crap like you did a year ago and you're said Anko, sitting down with her arms folded with a frown, while Kurenai sat down in a more polite manner, followed by Slade, who did the same across from Kurenai and just out of kicking distance from Anko. Kohono Ninja Academy. Naruto's POV. Kiba was at his front while Sasuke was at his back, and both boys were now fully beyond angry with him for what he did, making him the middleman and target. Well, I did want a workout, thought Naruto as he used his calm, cold, calculating manner as Slade had been teaching him while in Demon World. Meanwhile, Hinata was now in the care of the one named Shino after he had used his new warming, sweet, and ever-charmed filled enhanced voice that his female guest in his body Dragona had taught him. The end result had just made the poor pale-eyed Hyuga girl of an heiress blush, followed by fainting in front of him and the entire class. I think this is the part where either of you are supposed to attack me, said Naruto mockingly in his thin mask-muffled voice, making both boy in front and back of him angrier even more. Kiba struck first with his family's taijutsu fighting style that made him fight more like a beast, with his claws extending outward when he did. Naruto moved out of the way with the greatest of ease, only to move again soon after as Sasuke tried to attack with a right fist after Kiba to keep Naruto off his feet. Naruto saw the fist, grabbed it, fell backward, lifted his leg forward to his chest, and launched Sasuke back into the wall on the other side of the room opposite of the window before flipping back up to his feet. I'll get you for hurting Hinata like that if it's the last thing I do, said Kiba, trying to swipe at the black cloth masking Naruto's face only to have Naruto dodge it with ease. I don't see what your problem is. I mean, all I did was kiss her hand and speak the truth so she would remember me after nearly a full year. Though I can see how her fainting is partially my fault. Perhaps I should do what that prince did in that fairy tale and kiss her on the lips to wake her up from her sleep, said Naruto, speaking the words suggested to him by Dragona, making Kiba even more irate as he now swung wildly at Naruto with every intention to K him. Never, said Kiba, swiping downward at Naruto's chest, diagonally missing by a good 2 feet even when Naruto moved out of the way. Having enough of this musical dance of stupidity, Naruto decided to end it before going back to Hinata to see her wake up. He dodged one more hand before sweep kicking Kiba of his feet before backhanding him in the back of his skull. Meanwhile, Akamaru leaped off at the last second to avoid being hurt, but kneeled under the shadowy gaze of Naruto as if to say he had surrendered to the demon vessel. Kiba's going to hate me for this later. But what choice do I have? Thought Akamaru as he had no other option before him. Naruto nodded to the dog, indicating that he had accepted the dog's surrender, and moved quickly to an unconscious from fainting Hinata, who had small smile on her face in the chair she was now sitting in next to Shino. Thanks Shino for taking care of her, but now it's time to wake this princess up, said Naruto before moving close to Hinata, removing his mask of a cloth down away from everyone, and kissing her gently right on her lips, thus making everyone in the room drop their jaw when they saw this. And it was at that moment that Yumino Iruka woke up from his faint spell to follow in his student's footsteps of having his jaw make contact with the ground. Local bar normal POV. To see Slade able to hold his sake was surprising to say the least, though for Slade it was nothing he couldn't handle. Demon lords as well as demon themselves have their own version of sake that was much more stronger. However, Anko or Kurenai didn't know that and were surprised when the demon lord in human form drank a whole sake bottle through his mask without so much as a problem. Damn, he can drink a lot, and I thought I could hold my liquor, thought Anko as she was seeing, but still not believing that Slade had finished the bottle in a graceful manner that she had never seen before. This stuff must be like water to him if he can drink all that without becoming intoxicated like so many others would, thought Kurenai as she was amazed just like Anko was by Slade at just how the nine-tailed fox could hold his sake as he put the bottle down. You will have to forgive me for rudely drinking in that fashion. You see, I have not had much to drink since my return from Demon World with Naruto, and I was quite thirsty, said Slade, looking more at Kurenai than Anko. How is Naruto? Said Kurenai as she felt the more she knew the better, but why she had wanted to know she didn't understand. He's developed himself into a strong warrior. He's grown so fast I can't help but feel a sense of pride in the fact I helped him become so powerful. How is Hinata? I assume that she's grown quite a bit since last we saw her, said Slade with the pride in his training with Naruto and curiosity at the development of Hinata as he was speaking it clearly in his voice. Hinata's grown a little physically, but a lot mentally, as I was forced to give her the talk involving her and her body when they reach a certain age. She passed out so many times I lost count after 300 faints before I was able to even finish a third of what I wanted to tell her, said Kurenai as she remembered how she had Hinata sit on her bed in her room at the Hyuga compound, so when she fainted it was on something soft and not the ground or hardwood floors. I myself never did that with Naruto, but it would be eventual. He had to learn just like Hinata about things like his body and when he meets that special lady. I'm not much for the whole intimacy of relationship given my background, so I found a suitable teacher to help him absorb this information piece by piece. It's going quite well from the last bit of progress I saw earlier, and I dare say it might even be complete, said Slade before he got up from the table read to head out. Wait, Slade, where are you going? Said Kurenai as he was now leaving so soon, and she wanted him to stay. However, from the look on Anko's face, she was happy as could be since this little turn of events. My apologies once more, as I have to go see my vessel, as he should be getting out soon, and I have to be like a parent there to greet their child. If you want, you could come along to see just how much Naruto has grown, said Slade, extending his hand to her in a polite manner to her to take if she so wished, while Anko was nudging her foot hard, telling her to say no. It would be interesting, as I have yet to see the boy in his new form. I think I'll go with you, to see for myself, said Kurenai, as she didn't want him to think it was a date or anything, as she took his hand while trying to prevent a blush from appearing on her face. Then let us be on our way, said Slade, pulling her towards him as they were going to get there the quickest way possible. His body is so impressively well built despite him being a demon in human form. It's not a genjutsu or fox type illusion either, it's all him, thought Kurenai, as she couldn't help but blush at such close contact. Fox Fire Teleportation Jutsu, said Slade before consuming both of them in Fox Fire and leaving the bar for the Ninja Academy. Fine. See if I care that I'm now drinking all alone, said Anko as she went to pick up her bottle, not seeing the unnatural seal under it that activated when lifted, it causing the bottle to turn into a scroll with AV for victory sign on it before it exploded, covering her once again, and this time the entire bar with brown molasses and tree sap. Kill, thought Anko as she was about to scream out in anger those very words when she saw a flash out of the corner of her eye. It was a small orange with black fur fox take a picture, using its paw on the camera on the ground, of her before it picked up the camera gently with its teeth before fading away in a genjutsu illusion. Master will be pleased, thought the fox as it moved invisibly yet stealthily through the busy crowd, as a scream of anger was heard once more, only in a bar with no doctor to give her a sedative. Damn you, Slade, yelled an extremely pissed of Anko as she tore the bar several new holes and then some before the Anbu were forced to come remove her from the bar one way or another if they could. In the end, the bar was closed for 6 weeks due to the bomb and Anko's rampage shortly following it in the bar itself with the Anbu. Konoha Ninja Academy normal POV. Hinata was having the most wonder dream that she was being kissed by the one she had a crush on, the one she admired, and the one person who gave her strength to be confident. After a solid 2 minutes into her dream of them kissing gently, she had found herself now unknowingly waking up just as their dream had their mouths part. Shortly after this point in time, she had opened her eyes wanting to see him one more time before she kissed him like that again. If only real life was like this in my dreams, thought Hinata as she now stared at the hazy figure in her eyesight that slowly began to clear up. It was then that the setting of her blissful dream had changed from a park bench to that to Ninja Academy. It was then she realized who it was she was staring into was none other than the masked figure now in her line of sight before her. Hello Hinata. Sleep well, I take it, said Naruto as his sky blue eyes LD through her near white ones, and it was then she realized that his was not a dream, that right in of her was Uzumaki Naruto, and that he had for a good 2 minutes kissed her right on the lips. By then everyone else in the room was now speechless or unable to speak out of sheer collapse of their mental faculties in that part of their brain. Hinata, while staring up at the now unmasked masked warrior who just so happened to be the person she had admired, had adored, and basically worshipped, that was now holding her after just planting her first real kiss from his to her lips. It took a good 30 seconds to realize what had happened as she blushed and squeaked at the implication of what happened settle in. She readjusted herself off of him, not knowing what to say or what do. Thankfully, to whatever God heard her plight, Iruka intervened as he had finally was able to reboot his brain functions required to speak. Oh okay, you two break it up and get a seat away from each other. The last thing I need is for something unethical to get me fired or face the wrath of an angry Hyuga of a parent, said Iruka as he didn't want one thing turning into another that would make the book Kakashi reads look like children's pop-up books in comparison. Sure thing Iruka-sensei, but I am going to sit next to Hinata-chan, and if you don't like it, well, try and stop me, said Naruto, putting his mask back on before encircling Hinata's hand with his before moving at high speed to his and Hinata's previous spot, making the girl squeak yet again because of it. Well, as much as that is tempting, pauses, from the way Sasuke and Kiba are now finally coming into consciousness, my fellow teacher Mizuki was summoned by some of the clan elders, And I'm lagging behind as it is, so I can't, said Iruka, though he knew even if he could try to stop Naruto he couldn't, as he knew what had happened to the two ninjas a year ago that tried to kill him, and he didn't want to fight Naruto now after just returning from a place no human wants to go. Before the graduating class of Genin students knew it, Iruka was drowning the class in his boringly rehearsed speech before the weekend before they returned for the pairing up that was done based off their test's results. Though as things were, he knew a vast majority of the graduating class were going to be very unhappy with the pairings. Once the teams were split up evenly, he knew a great deal of them were not going to like the pairings they were given. Oh well, no one ever said life was fair. You of all people know what I mean, right Naruto? Thought Iruka, as he had taken Naruto's previous test scores from the year before and had the esteemed pleasure of calculating just how Naruto would have fared had he gotten a test that was sabotaged by teachers now long deceased. It turned out that Naruto had a very high IQ that rivaled if not surpassed the lazy genius Shikamaru when he was actually active on very rare days. As it stood, Naruto would have blown last year's #1 Rookie Ninja of the Year Hyuga Neji out of the water with what he could do. With what Naruto had become now, it would seem quite possible the boy was going to fulfill his dream after all. Unfortunately, due to Naruto not being here this year, even though he didn't have to be, his grades would be considered that of AS last, and it was those at the order of a fully unified council that Naruto's grades be that of bare minimum in graduating for this year's class. Please come up here to receive your headband when I call your name, said Iruka before calling out his students in alphabetical order of their last names. What is his name? Do I know him from before? Why is he graduating with us? Thought all the students towards Naruto, with the exception of Hinata, who was still blushing up a storm at what Naruto did to wake her up. Naruto himself had a calm look on his face, though Hinata could see he was smiling under the mask from the slight wrinkling of the cloth covering his face. Well Naruto, it seems you have fulfilled a desire of Hinata's that she has had, it seems, for quite some time. Makes you wonder what other desires she may still have, or what they will be when she is older, huh? Thought Dragona, laughing while making Naruto blush, though it was concealed nicely behind his cloth of a mask as Iruka called the remaining few down. Please Dragona, you're going to embarrass me in front of her, thought Naruto, looking over slightly at Hinata, who looked away from him as he did so, pushing her index fingers together at a pace that outdid her nearly exhausted heart from pumping so fast. I know, but still I had to get you have that kiss to keep those fangirls you acquired in this classroom at bay. If Hinata saw you being seduced by any of them, it would break her heart before she decided to break their NS, thought Dragona, as she knew the girl had potential from what Naruto told her about the girl a year ago. Nara Shikamaru, Uchiha Sasuke, and finally, everyone raises their heads and opens their ears to hear this, Uzumaki Naruto, said Iruka, who saw everyone's eyes nearly bulge out of their sockets at the name. What? How come the idiot from last year graduates with us when he didn't even attend a stupid class? Said Kiba, who was outraged that not only did Naruto get his girl, but also passed without lifting a finger. He must have kissed the Hokage's ass to pass and get all that fancy stuff he's wearing now, said Sasuke, making most of the other kids in the class laugh, but it sd when the sound of a sword being unsheathed was heard and a wave of king intent was felt by all, making everyone freeze where they were, as several of the students soon after had just involuntarily relieved themselves of the bodily waste in their seats. For being such a prodigy of a genius of your so-called clan Uchiha, you sure stupid for all the check your mouth says that your ass can't cash. You see, I passed last year's exam after it was discovered my tests during that time had been marked incorrectly. After it was discovered, I had to go with my new sensei as well as legal guardian on a top secret mission, so I was not able to officially graduate till this year. So before you decide to say something stupid again, remember your life and your tea for split second were in my hands. Said Naruto in the dark-haired boy's ear, with his sword now pressed hard against the Uchiha's T, now drawing small river blood on the side of the N. Naruto, stop! Yelled Iruka, who for a second thought Naruto would actually K the boy, though he couldn't say he would have done the same, as no one should disrespect you in such a degrading way. As you wish, but that is my one and only warning to you or anyone else who doubts that I have earned this, as anyone else will not receive any mercy from me, said Naruto as he was looking around the room with his eyes no longer blue, but an orange-red with the pupils being SS before walking out the door. No one even registered the fact that seconds after he had left he had been followed almost immediately by Hinata, who was one of the very few that did soil themselves where they sat. Well, that was certainly interesting. Now I have to figure out how in the hell am I going to explain this to the kids' parents outside that everyone in this classroom save for Hinata, Naruto, Shino, and myself soiled themselves just after officially graduating from this school, thought Iruka before noticing Shino raise his hand, which Iruka nodded in acknowledge in seeing it. Iruka-sensei, if I may have your permission, I wish to leave this room as it has just only recently become unsatisfactory to breath in, said Shino as his bugs though were used to it he was not as he was not bug himself just bug user. Yeah sure go on ahead. In fact I think we are done here so all of you can go meet your parents outside, but before you go remember to come back on Monday to be put into your genin teams, said Iruka as the kids all got up from their seats groaning at the realization at what they had done while Shino walked slightly faster to get out of the building and Iruka opened all of the windows to air the room out. When all of the graduating class of genin came out, the parents who were there to meet them all wondered what happened when they saw their children's embarrassed looks on their faces even though it was clear that they all successfully graduated. Plus the smell of bodily waste that was coming off them was something of a horrible curiosity in itself. One by one the kids told their parents everything that happened in the classroom and the boy responsible for making them discharge their bodily waste into their undergarments. The parents were all shocked and scowled at the said boy as he was seen with the Hyuga heiress, a slightly blushing female Junin, a metal-masked face one-eyed man who was in close contact with the blushing woman as he seemed to be the boy's guardian, and the Hyuga clan head talking as if all was well. Hey you there with that brat of yours. I want to talk to you, said Haruno Hitomi who was Sakura's mother storming over to the man in orange and black with an angry look meant to K almost all who stared at it. Of course all things considered Slade was the almost and would not in any way shape or form be intimidated when looking into the eyes woman who like her daughter had pink hair. About what exactly, said Slade as he looked at her with calm almost dull eyes while Kurenai was a little worried about the woman as she was a member of the village council for the Hokage. That beast of yours made my precious angel as well as nearly every other boy or girl in their class soil themselves in class. I demand you punish him for that and assaulting my poor innocent daughter, said Hitomi as she looked from Slade to a calm-looking as well as masked-faced Naruto and then back to Slade with her eyes never leaving her angry and hate-filled stares at them. I see. Tell me Haruno-san, did your daughter just happen to leave out the part where she assaulted this boy that I am the guardian of? Did she tell you that she started what Naruto finished? If not then I suggest you ask her again right in the eyes and to her face for the complete truth. If you do not I'm sure the Hokage will be happy to speak with you as he saw the whole thing through his mystic ball he keeps in his office. So by all means file a complaint, I will be there as well as Naruto to fight it to the end. Now get out of my sight before I leave your daughter without her mother to go home to, said Slade as his one eye flashed a glowing orange making the woman become petrified before turning back to her daughter. So it is true you are, him. Said Hiashi while noting that out of the corner of his Hyuga eyes he saw the Abarames talking to their son by the way they looked down to speak with him though it was unclear what they were discussing as one could never tell with them. Yes, I'm assuming that the Hokage told you everything about me, Naruto, and the past history we have with each other connecting us to Arashi. Said Slade calmly knowing the man was no threat to him or the boy if he were here talking to them normally. Yes, I have been told and it is because of this new information that I am regretting my misgiving I had towards Uzumaki-san after my wife SD. She loved Naruto very much and saw a lot of Arashi in him and had it not been for the Hyuga elders' threats made towards Hinata and my wife I would have supported the adoption fully without hesitation at all, said Hiashi with no lying in his voice. I know. Before next week starts you need to speak with the parents of the one known as Shino as they are most likely cautious of the boy now. They may very well break the law the Hokage made within the privacy of their own home, said Slade as he like Hiashi had noticed the boy speaking to his parents about the incident with his parents and hearing what the boy was saying. I will make sure they are discreet and know what it is they should do or say to the boy. Though I am curious as to why he did not relieve himself like the others, said Hiashi as he looked at Naruto as if he could explain it better. He was taking care of Hinata while I took care of Uchiha and Dog Boy so I felt I owed him that much, said Naruto knowing that some of the hateful eyes of the parents were on him muttering, monster, beast, and other hate-filled things from their tongues thinking he wouldn't hear them. I see. The boy is honorable, that is without question, as you were protecting a life, and it was clear that he knew that, said Hiashi as he recalled the boy, though being very tight-lipped, was very kind-hearted to others when it was needed, despite the fact that everyone was always keeping the distance from him because of his bugs. Just as the conversation was about to progress sooner, a Chunin ninja with white hair and average-looking face approached the little group. Excuse me, Lord Hiashi, but you have been summoned to an emergency meeting with the Hokage and the other clan council members, said the ninja, showing his respect to the Hyuga in front of him. Did they mention to you what this meeting pertained to? Said Hiashi calmly, though the man had a calm face when he could see with his bloodline eyes the muscles on the man's face and jaw twitched in reaction to fight back a look of disgust when he looked slightly at Naruto. They did not say, sir. All I know is that your presence has been requested, and as we all know, lateness is not accepted by any of them, said the ninja. Yes, thank you, Mizuki. I will go see the other clan elders after I drop Hinata home, said Hiashi before leaving with Hinata, who was then met with a serious-looking Hyuga boy who was slightly taller than Hinata. After Mizuki left, Naruto and Slade frowned noticeably, and Kurenai couldn't help but be curious. What's going on? Why do you look angry? Said Kurenai as she looks at the two people in front of her. That man Mizuki. He is just like one of the people in the village who hates Naruto with a purpose. I can smell the stench of hatred he has for the boy, as well as see it in his eyes, and it is clear that Hiashi saw it or something similar to it too. That man is clearly up to something, and we must be watchful of his actions, as they clearly spell doom for anyone who meets him, said Slade while getting a nod from Naruto confirming what the fox demon said. I'll talk to the Hokage tomorrow to have someone watch him for the next few days to find out what he's up to, said Kurenai, knowing Mizuki would get suspicious if it was Slade or Naruto who approached the Hokage about this. I would greatly appreciate that. By the way, Naruto, the Hokage had regrettably told me that you are to get your genin picture taken tomorrow earlier in the morning than usual due to Yamanaka Inaki has to give you an internal head examination with his clan ability. The Hokage tried to stop them in some way, but was overruled by the combined unity of the shinobi and village council of elders, said Slade as he looked off into the distance before vanishing with a wave of fire consuming his body as he entered Naruto once more with a thoughtful look on his face. Sorry about that, but when Slade Sensei gets like that, it means he's brooding over something. He does not mean to offend you in any way, Kurenai-san, said Naruto, bowing apologetically to the genjutsu mistress. It's all right, Naruto, from the way things have happened recently, it's probably the most polite way of saying goodbye anyone has ever done to me. Most men just want to date me for perverted reasons, so at times I have to kick them out of my house physically or with a genjutsu. Whatever is bothering Slade, I'm sure it was important. If you will excuse me, Naruto-san, I have to go home as it is late and I need to get some well-deserved rest, said Kurenai, leaving in a swirl of leaves, fully believing what Naruto told her, considering from what the Hokage had told her about the two were bonded to each other, so what Naruto said in regards to Slade was probably true. Good day to you as well, Kurenai-san, said Naruto to no one in particular, walking away from the academy, deciding to walk around before heading to the Hokage's mansion, as he had yet to find a suitable home in the village that the people who hated him wouldn't try to vandalize it because of what he held inside of him. As Naruto walked at a normal pace around the village to nowhere in particular, he sensed three figures lurking in the shadows of the people he passed. If the three shadows were trying to be wannabe ninja, they were doing a piss-poor job of it, as he sensed them easily. I don't have time for this, thought Naruto as he continued walking along the streets of Konoha, ignoring the weird looks that he was getting since no one had seen him before like this. As for the three losers following him, it was clear they were waiting for the right moment to strike, so being the clever boy he was, he would let them. He decided to lure them out from their planned trap into his own by drawing them out into an abandoned area of the Uchiha district. You can come out from your hiding spots, you fools. I've known you were there since the end of the academy, said Naruto, raising his voice so the three people could all hear him. One by one the three came out with weapons of some sort in their hands, ranging from a simple butcher knife to a low-grade katana. So you spotted us, huh? It just means you are the demon, as only a demon could have spotted us, said villager number one, holding the katana in his hand. Either that or you three are poor stalkers. Your stealth sucks. A low-grade genin could do better than you at stealth, said Naruto calmly. Oh, you think so, huh? Well, why don't we just show you how good we are, demon? Once we get rid of you, we will heroes of the village, and the Hokage will have no choice but to pardon us due to the will of the council, said villager number two, who was holding the butcher's knife. Then come get me, But know this, you attack first and I will KO you, painfully, said a serious-sounding Naruto, readying himself in a sword-fighting stance ready for his first K as he had learned and been taught during his time with Hiei, Kurama, Dragona, and Slade that when facing an enemy no matter who it was you should show no mercy when they are trying to KO you. You may be a demon, but you are still weak, said villager number 3 charging at Naruto with what looked like a long blunted wooden object like a club. The weapon that was villager number 3's hands never hit Naruto as he was there one moment and then gone the next, only to reappear behind the villager a second later. You were saying my now-s foe. Naruto then swiped his sword horizontally to the right before the man was nothing more than pieces of bloody F that was once a whole body. Villager number 1 and villager number 2 were shocked as they did not expect the bastard fox to K anyone, as he was supposed to be a nice, caring, and harmless kid who didn't hurt any of the villagers. He's changed. He really is a monster, thought both villagers as they had turned tail and ran only to find Naruto in front of them with his sword slightly deeping in blood. Don't leave now, the fun is just getting started, said Naruto as his voice got darker and his eyes became orange-red with his pupils being SS for better sight while he raised his ninja headband and the black bandage revealing an open and angry Jaganai. Naruto had made the last 2 villagers before him suffer painful death under his sword and slice skills. Long before the night was over, the Uchiha district that had once long ago housed countless members of its clan members before the great Uchiha M were once more stained in blood due to another M. However, unlike the last one, in this one nobody was going to miss 3 stupid, poor, and unfortunate souls who thought they could stare into the eye of the dragon. What is even scarier about today for the people of Konoha is that tonight is still young and I have a feeling I'm going to be needed to keep these idiots safe, thought Naruto as he cleaned the blood of his sword with a shred of cloth from one of his first KS, closes his Jaganai, and puts down his black bandage and ninja headband before advancing back into the more populated part of Konoha through the roofs of houses and businesses alike. Meanwhile, a certain Chunin ninja named Mizuki watched with amazement at seeing the boy's skills with a blade. As I suspected, he's strong and is perfect into tricking to get the scroll of forbidden seals. Once I get him to do it by making him believe it's to get back at the villagers, I'll pull a double cross him at the last minute and leave his rotting demon corpse someplace they will find it. Meanwhile, I'll be far, far away from this wretched place and becoming strong from reading the forbidden scroll, thought Mizuki as he moved on ahead of Naruto's pace to intercept him so they could have a little talk. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.